What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with another AEW Week In review. It is the road to full gear. It'll be tomorrow night on pay-per-view. I'm going to be doing my preview and predictions, as always, as well as my results and review. So I'm going to be doing the preview and predictions after I record this one. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. I now am on Apple Podcasts as well as Podomatic. I usually put a link when I do my YouTube link on Twitter. I also put a link in the description of. I usually follow up a tweet with the links to the audio podcast if you want to listen to that there, and then you could look at my channel and stuff like that. Anyway, so as always, I know everything has been a little crazy this week. Most people haven't been sleeping a lot. Neither have I. With everything going on, I'm not going to talk about it. That's why we're here for wrestling, so we can not think about those type of things. So as always, what I do is I like to recap and review everything from AEW programming, BTE, Dark, Dynamite. I try to do it, a little more thorough, as if almost you didn't watch it and you want to know beat by beat what happens. Hopefully you like that. So I'm going to jump right into it because this week was obviously tough, staying up and paying attention to everything. So I did my best. So we have BTE first. The episode was, excuse me, I had this cough, not COVID, but just a cough. Losses Matter too. So obviously last week I was huge and high on Cutler versus Avalon. I was so pumped about it. Also, side note, there's going to be a special episode of Dark tonight, which they like to do on Fridays before their pay-per-views. They like to do a special episode of Dark. Obviously, I'm not going to have time to review that, put that in here, so I'm going to actually attach that to next week's AEW Week In review, so I'll have kind of a double episode of Dark for that. Anyway, there we go. With all that being said, so we get the end of last week, Matt and Nick getting up to head. It was to Brandon's match. We saw them walking down the hallway. We didn't know exactly where they were going. It was to watch Brandon's match. They have a Cutler interview after when he talked about... they showed the Cutler interview where... he talked about not being able to win. He was really impassioned. I think I spoke about it, how much I liked it. Then we get a montage of all of his losses and the beef with Avalon, how it started as a beef, then they became a tag team, then they obviously started beefing again, then the matches between them. I mean, I got a little emotional over it, just watching the progression of it. This is long-term storybooking. This is the way you're supposed to do it. I'm a huge fan of Brandon Cutler. I think he's actually a fantastic wrestler. I really do, and I got emotional. Not babbling and crying and everything like that, but just seeing how tough it was for him to take that all. Obviously the video of him getting the 2 contracts was huge. Was super emotional there, and him being just brought along. He didn't want to just be their friend. He didn't want to just be the guy that films BTE. We get, through the whole thing, we get the match, we get a backstage promo with Cutler and the Bucks, and saying that losses matter too, because that's, that helps you understand who you are, builds you up, and I really liked it. It was really good, and then Matt even apologizes to him for being so hard on him, but, it looks like everything's all good. So we get next week, triple threat for Gator Golf for the BTE title. Matt, I think Trent and Silver, I think it is. I think that's it. So then we get Fuego del Sol runs into Sammy backstage. Sammy admits that he threw the Gator Golf match, which if you see it, it was ridiculous how long it took him to win. And that Fuego still lost the next round. He says he flew himself out and put himself up in a hotel because he just needs an opportunity. Says he even wore his gear because he always wants to be ready. Even because Sammy said, why are you wearing your gear? So Matt walks by, and Sammy says, the way you got to do it is to take him out. So he grabs his shoe, throws it. It obviously hits Cage. Sammy says is Fuego. And then he puts up Fuego against the wall, and he's like, I have both my shoes. Sammy doesn't. So Cage looks over, sees him, and he goes, run, dun-dun-dun-dun. So they do that bit. That was funny. Silver and Reynolds trying to recruit Darby Allin again. They're dressed up with face paint on. They said that they just got back from the Good Charlotte concert. That was a throwback. Forgot about Good Charlotte. Silver's trying to talk about skateboarding using his young kid lingo, which is pretty funny. They said so they said they have a death wish. Silver ate a big boy burrito before wrestling, and he had the squirt, so he's got a death wish too. It's ridiculous. Darby then just threatens to shove his skateboard up their asses, and they leave. We get Luchasaurus with I think it's Super Panda. So his friend that we talked about back when they couldn't find his tail. His friend there. And Luchasaurus' dad is cooking meat. Apparently they're at his house, so he's getting trained by Panda. Luchasaurus wants to do big man training. He doesn't want to do any kind of like Luchasaurus training. I totally forgot to put the sound on my phone, as usual. Luchasaurus is diving in the pool with a wetsuit, and the dad gets absolutely soaked, and the grill gets splashed. And he's mad. He's mad that the dad hasn't moved. The Luchasaurus hasn't moved out yet, which I think is funny. And then apparently we get some like dinosaur sounds, and it's his mom calling him in for dinner. We get the Speaking Spanglish segment now to end it. So they do a Spanglish feud. The team Wepa versus Dark Order. So the first is Uno versus Dasha. So they ask an Austin Powers question. And you can see that Alex Abraham Mendez is totally standing for Dark Order. We get 5 and 10 going up against Santana and Ortiz. Ortiz is already pissed off, and while he's talking to them about, Alex is talking to them about the Backstreet Brawl. He's showing 5 and 10 the answers. How to recruit cult members is the question, so they end up winning there. Stu versus Sammy. They ask about Cody's favorite foods, and then Stu says shit, which apparently is not, even though he thought it was a good answer. So then Wepa chooses Beningo Bodega, which is basically Alex doing the fortune teller bit, and he gets them all right, so Wepa wins, and then Anna throws Stu into a garbage can, and that's how it ends. Pretty funny episode. Obviously the biggest thing was Brandon Cutler, I guess, making nice with the Bucks, and the Bucks doing the right thing there, and just the kind of recap of that storyline. I don't know if this is going to be the end of it. I don't know what this means for Brandon Cutler going forward. I see that on the special episode of Dark, I believe, he has a match against Michael Nakazawa, who he lost to by Nakazawa sliding into the ring right before the 10 count. So I don't know if this is going to be now like a streak of wins for Cutler, or he's going to go right back to losing. We'll see. I hope it's not. I hope he gets some wins and builds himself back up. All right. So now we are into AEW Dark. Anthony Ogogo is back on commentary for a little bit. First match, we get Bishop King versus Darby Allin. Classic big man versus a little man with speed. Obviously, Darby has the best suicide dive in the game. Sends King right into the barricade. Pretty crazy. We get Darby with a knee bar after taking some heat. King misses a swanton. We get a code red by Darby for a 2 count, and then eventually hits the Last Supper pinning combination for the win. Next match, we have Layla Hirsch and Elena Black versus Red Velvet and Brandy Rhodes. Obviously, Layla Hirsch has had 2 really good matches against Sheena and Serena Deeb. I feel like she's, definitely an up-and-comer, and she should definitely get signed and put on into the women's division. I think she's great. We get a step-up knee by Black on Brandy, a standing moonsault by Velvet for a 2 count. Hirsch reminds me of kind of like Shayna with her mannerisms. I don't know why I put that note in, but I guess something around just the way she's built and the way she comports herself in the ring kind of reminds me of Shayna. She's not as big as Shayna. Obviously, Layla is very compact and short. So we get a GTS by Black on Velvet, double knees, drop kick combo on from Hirsch for a 2 count. Miss Moonsault by Hirsch, hot tag to Brandy. I'm not really the biggest fan of Brandy's in-ring abilities these days. I almost feel like she's regressed from what I used to see her. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think she's bad. I just feel like when I first saw her in the very beginnings of AEW, I thought I saw just a lot more technical, more crisp in the ring. I don't know. So we get a shot of Brandy with the pump kick that I don't even know if it connected, but they still get the win. There. Then we get Jurassic Express of Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy versus Danny Limelight and Casey Navarro. Casey is manhandled by Luchasaurus. Stalling assisted senton on Casey for a 2 count. We get a flatliner into the ropes combo on Jungle Boy, which was a really nice sequence from Limelight and Navarro. Limelight tries to flip out of a choke slam, but just catches a knee. And then we get a power bomb toss combo by Jurassic Express for the win. Once again, as always, not using their typical finishing moves to finish a match. I like that. Kaz vs. Ryzen. Recap of last week's tag match with TH2. It's not a normal thing that they do on Dark, that they show the recaps from the previous week, so that was kind of foreshadowing to me of what would happen. Ryzen with a pull-out, kind of like a pull-out powerbomb. I know that sounds weird. For a 2 count. Fisherman suplex by Kaz for a 2 count. Ryzen moonsault met with the legs up. Scorpion death drop by Kaz for the win. Dasha comes in for a post-match interview, talking about his goals, what he wants to do, and then TH2 attacks. CD comes in for the save, so obviously that was foreshadowing. I assume they're going to have some kind of match. Dave Dutra versus Ricky Starks. Starks is in control the whole time, hits the spear, the Rochambeau for the win, and then as always he joins commentary. We get Sean Maluda, Alex Chamberlain versus Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. We get some good double teaming on Maluda. Pillman's taking heat. Snap power slam on Maluda, hot tag to Griff. We get the atomic drop face buster on Maluda, which pin gets broken up. Springboard palm strike powerbomb combo on Maluda for the win. And then we get Archer out there. He just destroys everybody. Jake Roberts follows, calls out Eddie Kingston. He made a mistake crossing their path. Jake says he'll DDT someone, which I'll be surprising if he does that. Then Archer says he will rage on Eddie Kingston's family. So obviously kind of, heels versus heels, but I like it. Aaron Solo and Angel Fashion versus Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. Newly signed Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. Congratulations. So Caster has a rap about them, which is kind of funny. I like this that he's doing. We get Fashion taking lots of heat, and then we get a Casadora cutter combo on Fashion for the win. It's their first win since being signed, so obviously we'll see more of them. I like that they're, some of the young guys, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens. So I don't know if they're going to keep them as tag teams or if just, they're just doing that so that they can get them on TV and exposure. Who knows? 5 versus VSK, which I think is a very strong kicker. I think his name was a very strategic kicker, something like that, because they talked about that on commentary. Dark Order's out. 10 is ordered to stick around. At one point, 5 unties VSK's boot to get the advantage. And then Chaos Theory by VSK, which is the rolling German suplex. And then we get a spinning heel kick, clothesline onto the apron, then the wing snapper for the win. Really nice sequence there for 5. So we get a POV of a video of the new manager search for Avalon. Very walk-in SNL, and he even says champagne. So I knew it right away. He's very creepy, gets slapped by whoever the woman is. Now he's calling himself Pretty Peter Avalon, so I guess the librarian gimmick is dead. I believe that's what he used to call himself. He even has a new graphic with like a ring box that opens up with his face on it. It's weird. And then the person comes back just for the glove. Then we get Butcher and the Blade versus Jersey Muscle. Butcher and the Blade attack right at the bell. We get a double Beal throwing that sends one across the ring. I forget the names. The Bunny interferes at one point. We get an atomic drop, fun splash combo. Hangman powerbomb, neckbreaker for the win. The Natural Nightmares come out for a fight. Bunny tries to distract QT, and then the refs come in to break it up. We get Will Hobbs versus D3. Hobbs has a stare down with Taz, and Starks on commentary. Taz keeps saying he wants an answer, but I mean everything that Hobbs does is showing that he doesn't, want to be there. So he does the Oklahoma Stampede power slam for the win. Starks out to the ring, Cage with the sneak attack, and then the lights go out. Darby's music hits, out with the board, and they all run away. But yet they still keep wanting him to be a part of it. So I just don't get it. Unless this is like the ultimate swerve. So we had Dark Order, Stu and Uno versus Baron Black and Nick Camarado. Stu steps right up to Camarado, even though Camarado is pretty big. Camarado has taken out both of them. We had a surfboard variation submission by Black on Stu. Stu delayed senton on the apron. We get a hot tag to Camarado, cleaning house. But then eventually they hit the nightfall on Camarado. There's a nightfall on Camarado. by Stu Grayson, which is impressive because that is the kind of the torture rack backbreaker. So he's able to pick that guy up, and then they hit the fatality on Black for the win. So Dark Order continues their winning ways. We get the next match is another Dark Order match. So Dark Order heavy on Dark. Sorry, I think that's the garbage truck. Dark Order Silver, Colt Cabana, and 10 versus Sean Dean, Cesar Bononi, and Fuego del Sol. Silver has a pose off with Bononi. He's saying, "You can't pick me up," and then 10 sneak attacks him. Silver's just awesome. Colt blind tag. Silver not happy, but they double team Del Sol. Bononi and Colt go at it. 10 blind tag and spear through the ropes. Spinebuster on Del Sol by 10. Torture Rack Thunderbomb by Silver on Del Sol for the win. Silver's face is just great as he's celebrating and getting all pumped up. And then we get Lady Tappa versus Kylan King. Lady Tappa was in TNA for a while. I don't remember seeing her. I don't know if she was there when I was watching. Excuse me. King is usually the bigger opponent, but not this time. We get a double super kick on the outside and Tappa pretty much no sells. We get a big Samoan drop back in the ring for a 2 count. King hits a fun splash for a 1 count, then goes up, hits the frog splash for the win. I believe this is Kylan King's first win, so congratulations to her. So there you go. Then we get Chaos Project, which is Serpentico and Luther versus Private Party. I love the new ring gear colors for Private Party. It's like Volt and Silver. Kaz is watching from the crowd, so I don't know who he's really surveying there, watching, scouting. That was the word I was looking for. We get the streamers that distract Cassidy into a German release by Luther. Cassidy's taking heat, then they get the hot tag to Quen. Moonsault on Serpentico for a 2 count. Eventually they hit Gin and Juice on Serpentico for the win. And then we get a match. As soon as I heard the people in it, I knew it was going to be a good match. Sammy Guevara versus Lee Johnson. Back and forth to start. Excellent chain wrestling between the two. Lee is mocking Sammy's pose. We get a chop fest. Sammy trips Lee on the springboard, then hits a stalling suplex across the top rope. Sammy hits a tornado and then kind of lands in his pose on the outside, which is cool. We get a hanging neck breaker by Lee, and then a springboard missile drop kick for a 2 count. Lee with a twisting tope of his own to the outside, which was really cool. We get a blindsided V trigger by Sammy, and then the GTH by Sammy. And then, instead of pinning him, because the GTH is his finisher, he hits the Twist of Fate to mock Hardy for the win. And then that is it for AEW Dark this week. A lot of Dark heavy, but some really good matches there. First wins for Max Caster and Anthony Bowens and Kylan King. And then Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. also got a win, so that was good. And then now we get the Full Gear Go Home show of Dynamite. Dashes with Jericho, Ortiz, and Hager. Jericho's giving Hager props on his Bellator win. He's got 2 black eyes. He looked like he got the shit beaten out of him. MJF and Wardlow interrupts. Says he doesn't want tension. He thought there might have been some tension from last week. And Jericho, will have a front row seat because he'll be on commentary to watch him. Jericho says that MJF is missing something. Maybe that killer instinct. Maybe that he's soft. And MJF is not happy about that. So Jericho goes off the commentary. So we get MJF and Wardlow versus Ortiz and Sammy. I love that they use the Inner Circle theme for Sammy and Ortiz instead of their individual themes, because each of them has their own individual theme. When they're coming out by themselves, they have the Inner Circle theme. So sometimes they come out to Jericho's theme if he's coming out. So I like that they kind of do that. Nasty chokeslam by Wardlow on Ortiz. MJF is super aggressive on Ortiz, because he's pissed off that he was called soft. Jericho is mad at Tony on commentary for yelling at him last week during the town hall. MJF almost runs into Wardlow at one point, so he looks a little pissed off. We get a hot tag to Sammy. Sammy's cleaning house, double crossbody. I mean, they're basically working face in this match. We get the double tope corkscrews by Sammy, hits one, then the other. And then Sammy and MJF have a standoff. The GTH is broken up by Wardlow. We get a standing shooting star by Sammy on Wardlow for a 2 count. We get like a Tower of Doom spot with everybody. F10 on Ortiz. Sammy splash to break it up. We get a springboard 450 by Sammy on to the outside, which was super dangerous but looked really great. We get Sandy, so we get someone with the Serpentico mask, throws a chair at Sammy's head while the ref is turned. It's Matt Hardy, and then he runs off. And then with that distraction, MJF hits the salt of the earth on Ortiz for the tap out win. As MJF and Wardlow are going up the ramp, MJF spears Jericho through the backdrop and starts fighting him. Jericho and the rest of the inner circle come out to break everything up, and Wardlow pulls MJF off. Jericho has a smile on his face, kind of like what Matt used to do during BTE. Yeah, I like that, more of that. When Flip was super kicking everyone because he wanted to be on All Out or All In. Tony interviews with Kenny at some home. He's got a house and a dog, and he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's not my house, not my dog." He relocated to Jacksonville to focus on the singles career. Says he could have gotten a bye since he got replacement matches when Tony challenges him on the fact that he got maybe an easier road. And he actually says he bet on Wardlow against Hangman there, but he was destined to win this tournament. So I don't know if that's he's mushing himself. We then get Trent versus Miro. We get a interview about that took place between them, I believe, on YouTube. And Trent calls Miro his young boy because apparently he was in FCW, and says he's going to be his young boy again. Miro then grabs the mic and does Trent's intro, says he's rude and his mom didn't teach him manners. Trent goes on the attack. Miro hits a Saito suplex. Chuck attacks Kip, and they fight up the steps. Miro counters, swinging DDTs twice, launches Trent out of the ring into the post. We get a Dark Order attack on Orange Cassidy during picture-in-picture. We get a slugfest that only angers Miro. Finally, Miro off his feet. Trent gets him there for a 1 count. We get the half and half suplex by Trent. Running knee countered into a swinging Uranagi by Miro. Tope con Hero by Trent connects. Finally hits the swinging DDT. Then goes for the sexy Chucky knee, but only gets a 2 count. Trent trips on the springboard. I don't know if this is a botch, if that was a botch or not, but into a Miro kick and the game over, which is the accolade for the win. Miro's not done though. He grabs a mic, but Orange Cassidy does the lazy jive on both of them, and then everyone breaks them up. So I assume also they're going to have some kind of tag match soon. Jim Ross has the interview with Paige. Paige is obviously drinking and drunk at the time. He said he knew he'd be them in the finals. He knows all of Kenny's moves and all the reverses. But Jim asks him if he's nervous, and he says, yeah, he is. This will be the closest he's been since he lost the title to Jericho. And, who knows if he'll ever get another shot. So obviously he's nervous. Sorry, just watching some things there. He's... You can just tell on his face that he's a little more humble, a little more reserved in this one. So then we get a Bucks FTR video package, kind of like testimonials from everybody, from the announcers to wrestlers about who they think is going to win. Taz comes out with Starks and Cage, says he's still waiting on Hobbs. 3 hours waiting on TK. He got snubbed though. Cage is ranked number 1, but he doesn't get a match. Stark not even ranked in the top 5, which is horseshit. Starks cuts a promo. Obviously he's great on the mic. They're pissed they don't even have a match at Full Gear, but they'll be there. But there will be an FTW presence. So this is where I think maybe they might get involved in one of these matches at some point. So we get the Bucks versus Private Party. So apparently this was that Quen, I believe he said that his shoulder was up, and the Bucks said, sure, no problem. So, they'll have a rematch. And also Matt wanted to prove that he can wrestle right now with his leg injury. So Hardy comes out with Private Party, but Sammy hits a Twist of Fate on the ramp. Matt's favoring his leg. Cassidy sent from the top to the ramp. Senton on Quen draped. And then we get Cassidy breaks up the pin there. Double team flatliner DDT by Quen. Double Rana by Quen on both Bucks. Melter Diver is broken up by Cassidy. We get a double super kick on Quen, and then a BTE trigger on Quen for the win. FTR hit the ring for a post-match attack. Hangman comes out first to help break it up. Then, and then Kenny comes out for the save. And then Kenny and Paige do it like a fist bump, so it looks like they kind of talk to each other for a little bit and then do a fist pump. But then Hangman, gets, starts to think about it, of everything that's gone on. He's a little pissed off, so he pulls over Kenny and he's like, he's not done with him. They jaw for a little and then eventually gets broken up. But, obviously he's pretty heated about the way things have ended between the two of them. The fact that, we didn't see what happened with the ending of BTE a couple weeks ago with the pumpkin and the nasty text messages with whoever had Hangman's phone. So don't know if that's Kenny or somebody else. So we'll find out, what ends up happening there. We had a Mox and Eddie face-to-face, which was great. If either of them get physical, the match doesn't happen. So Eddie's in his face and says he'll destroy him. And, he'll give it to his, what's his name? Mox says he'll give it to his mom. Eddie says he will give it to his mom. He says this is why he doesn't have a wife or kids. It's because he loves this business and this is all he wants. Mox learned loyalty is a bitch. He's been burned too many times. He says he was happy when he got signed. Eddie was pissed off. He's like, no, you weren't. He goes, yes, I was. He said he promised his mom when they were together that he would look after him. He says he guesses he's going to have to break that promise. The loudest in the room is usually the weakest, but he's weak, and he's scared to lose. So Eddie made a promise to his mom that he can't keep. And Eddie says he better get ready to kill him because he's not going to quit. So this was cool. They were nose to nose. This was really, really, really cool. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. So we had a video package from Pac. Finally, welcome back, Pac. He's in his living room, out, and then he's out by a tree. He's on the beach. He's talking about that he's being alone. He's got no one to talk to but himself. And then we see like multiple Pacs in ring gear, like showing up, being like popping up next to him, which is pretty cool. It says isolation means no one to play with. He's gotten faster, he's gotten stronger, so hopefully we get Pac back soon. And obviously, you hear in the background they play the stuff about Lucha Brothers. Where's your English friend or something like that. Oh my god. That was wrong pipe. Woo! Now we won't edit that out. That is just me being stupid. Backstage interview with Dustin and QT. They'll get a match with Butcher and the Blade next week. Bunny distracts with his credit card, saying that all his credit cards are maxed out. Butcher and Blade attack. We get Nyla Rose versus Red Velvet. As far as I knew, Nyla Rose said she wasn't wrestling again until she got a match with Sheeta, so I don't even know what that meant, what that was for, that declaration. So Red Velvet tries to Rana, gets a beast bomb, but pulls her up. A running knee like Sheeta does for the win. Vicky promo calls Brandy the CBSO, the chief bullshit officer. TK gave them the match that they wanted. She goes over to Sheeta, is cutting a promo on Sheeta. Enjoy your last days as champ. There's a little fight between them, between the barricade. I'll talk about it in my preview predictions about this build. So we get a Kenny and Paige video package. Don Callis is in it, which I think was cool. I forget the song that was in it, but it was actually really well done. We then get the Full Gear lineup. So we find out that Cassidy and Silver has been moved to the main card, and then the buy-in match will be Serena D versus Allison Kay, newly released free agent Allison Kay, who left NWA. So that's interesting. Next week we'll get Phoenix and Penta Part 2. Butcher and the Blade versus Natural Nightmares. I'm sure we'll have others. We get a Darby vignette. Darby approaches a car that is painted like his face. He destroys the car, puts on a Cody mask, and then gets run over by a car. So, just usual his stuff being weird. So this match I was very tired for, so I didn't get as much in it. So this was the Dark Order, Silver, Cole Cabana, and 10 versus Cody and the Gun Club, Austin and Billy. So Austin taking heat a lot in the beginning, gets the hot tag to Billy. We get a Famouser on 10. Silver breaks the count. The ending sees Austin hit a crossroads and then a quick draw on 10 for the win. So I was actually really happy here for Austin Gunn. I think he's actually really good. I mean, I know people say the quick draw is just a hip toss, but I like that he turns it into a neck breaker. Dark Order are out surrounding the ring. Silver tries to sneak attack, but Cassidy hits him with the orange punch on the ramp. So then there's a Cody promo after everyone leaves, and Darby's out sitting in the in the bleachers or the stands or whatever, saying Darby is saying that TNT doesn't want him to be champ. Says he would love it too. He says TNT wants him to be champ. He would love it too if he wasn't the champ himself. He brought Darby into TNT, and he's looking at the superstar who left the Empire, went to war and won. And then he actually cut a little bit of a promo after. He now officially can go by Cody Rhodes. He has his name back. I assume the trademark lapsed, and he's now able to use his name again. He has said that he probably won't use it in AEW. He'll probably just continue to just go by Cody, but I don't know about that. We'll see. And there you have it. That is AEW for the week. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. Also, check me out on audio if you like listening to that. Go to my Twitter account. You can see the links there. And as well, I will be recording my full gear preview and predictions. And as always, I do my match of the week. Almost forgot about that. So since there was nothing really on Dynamite that really got me, I'm going to go with Sammy Guevara versus Lee Johnson. From Dark, because this is, I think, the second time I've given Lee Johnson my match of the week. He's great. I think he's fantastic. Young, really talented. It's only a matter of time before he also gets signed to AEW. And Sammy Guevara is Sammy Guevara. And they put on a fantastic match together. A lot of really cool, innovative, high-flying moves between the two. You know, the tornadoes, the twisting topes. They were getting in each other's face. Obviously, Sammy won, because he has to get ready for his Ultimate Deletion match, or Elite Deletion, I'm sorry, with Hardy. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, so I already did the whole spiel, like and share and all that kind of stuff. So as always, be safe, love each other, and get some sleep if you can. We're all going to be all right. Don't worry about it. Bye now.